You're a senior in high school. Could you picture yourself in the position you're in right now?
And that's Kid Dynamite right there. Wow. Kyle Dake, a two-time national champion.
You know, I don't know, man. When I was coming out of high school, I just wanted to be a national champ.
They've been wrestling in the NCAA for 85 years now, but Cornell wrestler Kyle Dake did something last year that had never been done before.
When the lights are the brightest, that's when I think I perform the best.
You have just witnessed history. For the first time ever, we have a four-time champ in four different weight classes. Kyle Dake.
In this game, we have seen many champions, many legends. Then there are careers that sound almost impossible. Imagine walking to college wrestling as a freshman and winning an NCAA title. Now imagine doing the same thing again. And then finally doing it one more time. But the kicker here is that you're not defending the same title that you won year after year, but instead you would climb through 4 different weight classes, face an entirely new field of All-Americans and national championship contenders each season. Every year the challenge changed. Every year Kyle Dake found a way to stay on top. When you look at the landscape of college wrestling, there's a select few of athletes who can join the immortal 4-time NCAA championship club. But no one has conquered 4 different weight divisions. Many believe that it could not be done, but Kyle Dake proved them wrong. From 141 pounds all the way to 165 pounds. He would join this legendary club of athletes winning 4 NCAA titles. And for many athletes, this would have been enough. This would have been their fill with the game of wrestling. But for Kyle Dake, it was only the beginning. But before the world titles, but before the Olympic medals, before becoming one of the most dominant freestyle athletes of his generation, there was just a kid from upstate New York with an impossible dream. This is a story about how Kyle Dake became wrestling's greatest trailblazers. 4 weight classes, 1 legend. Every great champion has a beginning. For Kyle Dake, that beginning wasn't in a packed arena under the bright lights, but it was rather in a small town of Langston, New York, where wrestling wasn't just a sport, it was a part of the family's identity. Long before Kyle ever stepped onto a college mat, the sport had already shaped generations of the Dake family. His grandfather spent years as a high school coach during the 1960s. Dake's grandfather would then pass down the values of hard work, discipline, and work ethic to his father. This would lead him to later become an NCAA All-American in the year 1985, and this would also prove that greatness was possible. Even with these phenomenal accomplishments in the coaching genes, I don't think that anyone could have predicted what Kyle Dake was about to become. Kyle first stepped onto the wrestling mat when he was 5 years old. Like many young athletes, he explored with different sports while growing up, but there was something about the game, something about the complete responsibility. There was no teammates behind him. There were no excuses when things didn't go your way. Every victory belonged to you, but every defeat also belonged to you. As he entered high school, the decision became clear. The game would be his future, and once he entered high school, he quickly established himself as one of New York's brightest stars. His combination of strength, balance, and relentless pace separated him from nearly everyone he faced. Season after season, he continued to improve. Eventually, he would become a 3-time New York State finalist, and he would also capture 2 New York State championships at 112 pounds and 140 pounds. By the time his high school career came to an end, Dake had compiled an incredible record of 244 victories against 14 losses. Unlike some of the other top high school athletes during this time period, Dake had double-digit losses. So this meant that he got to experience those setbacks. He learned what it felt like to lose. Each one became a different lesson that fueled his development rather than defining him. One loss, however, became far more significant than anyone realized at the time. In the summer of 2006, at the prestigious Fargo National Championships, one of the biggest stages in high school wrestling, a young Kyle Dake squared off against another rising star from Ohio named David Taylor. That day, Taylor would emerge victorious. It was a meaningful win for the future Penn State legend, but history would reveal something even more remarkable. It would be the only time that David Taylor would ever defeat Kyle Dake. Neither athlete knew it at the time, but this would be chapter 1 in a series of matches between the two. They would collide over the next decade, and these matches would take place on the college mat, on the international stage, and in some of the most important matches the sport has ever seen. But more on those two athletes later. For Dake, this loss wasn't a warning sign, it was motivation. College coaches across the country recognized what they were seeing. And that was that Dake wasn't just winning because he was simply more talented than everyone else. He became a complete athlete who consistently evolved and learned from every setback and seemed to improve every time that he stepped onto the mat. His leadership and championship pedigree, matched with an unlimited potential, made him one of the most sought-after recruits in the nation. But despite the big opportunities to leave home and join college wrestling's biggest powerhouses, Dake made a decision that surprised many. So in the year 2008, the hometown hero committed to Cornell University. It was a decision that forever changed the program's history. Cornell had produced outstanding athletes before, but they were about to welcome the athlete who would transform the school into a national powerhouse. And this would start one of the most extraordinary careers in college wrestling history. The transition from high school to Division I wrestling is where many of the nation's best athletes are humbled. Every year, high school champions arrive believing that they will dominate immediately, only to discover that the college world is an entirely different level. Kyle Dake wasn't interested in following the script. From the moment that he stepped onto Cornell's campus, it became clear that he was ready. Despite the smaller frame at 141 pounds, Dake would compete like he was fearless. This style of competition quickly earned him the nickname,
And that's Kid Dynamite right there.
and it wasn't because of his size, it was because of the explosiveness behind every attack. His pace never slowed. Every match felt like that he was looking to make a statement rather than survive. And the statements came early. Competing in his first college open, he would major every single athlete that he competed against, but one. This freshman was not easing into the college wrestling world, and he announced his arrival, but that season wouldn't come without any adversity. At the prestigious Las Vegas Invitational, Dake experienced something that he has not felt in a very long time throughout his career, and that was defeat, a 4th place finish. This would mean that he would have 2 losses in his career. For most freshmen, this would have been a valuable lesson, a learning experience, but for Kyle Dake, it became something much more personal. And it was those 2 losses that left a bitter taste in Kyle Dake's mouth, and he promised himself that he would not feel this anymore. So he didn't dwell on the setbacks, he just responded to them. When Cornell competed at the national duels, Dake got his opportunity for revenge against one of the athletes who had beaten him earlier that season. And this, of course, would be Ohio State's Reese Humphrey. It was exactly the kind of challenge that reveals what an athlete is made of. And this time, Dake had all of the answers. He would defeat Reese, and this win would erase one of those early season losses and prove that he could adjust, improve, and beat the very athlete who just exposed him weeks before. That win had to spark something within Kyle Dake, because after this, he would go on an absolute tear.
All right, we got a 141-pound quarterfinal. We got Kyle Dake, Piccolella from Duke. Dake in the red singlet. Dake in, nice head outside single. Looking up, hook and a half again. Rolling through. Try to run it up. And that is tight as it gets right there. That's going to be a fall. Dake moves on to the semis.
And later that season, he would capture his first EIAA championship, earning himself the #1 seed at the NCAA championships. For a freshman, the expectations couldn't have been any higher. But the biggest stage of them all was still waiting.
Okay, so true freshman, seeded first in the NCAAs. A year ago, whatever, maybe at the beginning of the season when you signed with Cornell, did you think that was going to happen? Would you have thought that?
And his NCAA tournament did not start off in the prettiest fashion. He would get a 4-1 victory, and this win was not the start that Dake was hoping to have for his NCAA championship debut. But when you're competing in March, the only thing that matters is moving on. Then everything would begin to click for Dake. In the next round, he would get a pinfall. He would then follow this up by getting a 11-0 major decision in the quarterfinals, punching his ticket to the national semifinals. But across the mat was someone of a familiar face, Reese Humphrey from Ohio State. For 7 exhausting minutes, neither athlete could separate themselves. Every exchange was met with an answer. Every shot was met with a reshot, a counterattack. Neither competitor was willing to give an inch. Then regulation would come to an end, with the score remaining tied. Overtime wasn't enough, so the match moved into ultimate tiebreaker, where every second carried the weight of an entire season. Dake would later remember this battle vividly, because it wasn't just another victory, it was a match that proved that he belonged amongst college wrestling's elite. And just like that, this win would send him to the NCAA finals as a freshman, with one more match remaining in his freshman year.
He has been sensational, not suffering a defeat since December 4th. His record 33-2. He'll be facing off with Montel Marion. Yes.
Well, I was going to save my wow for Kid Dynamite, Kyle Dake, but the wow got taken.
True freshman sending off to college, and oh, by the way, he's going to wrestle for a
Head outside single, warded up. Look at that!
Nothing yet. Nothing yet.
And that's Kid Dynamite right there.
And then if he rides tough here, then the third period can be his, and he can control it.
Jordan Lean, thank you. NCAA champion, Todd.
Marion's got the single in on Dake. Look at the defense by Kyle Dake.
Unbelievable. And he arches through.
Become the first freshman at Cornell to win an NCAA title. An impressive performance for the 19-year-old.
But unlike the semifinals thriller, Dake would compete with complete confidence, and he would control the pace of the match and dictate all of the action, and he would secure a 7-3 victory, claiming his first NCAA championship. As remarkable as the title was within itself, finishing that season as a freshman national champion, it was the stats after the season for me. He would finish that season with 24 straight victories, a conference championship, walk into the NCAA tournament as the #1 seed, and finish #1 at 141 pounds. The nickname Kid Dynamite suddenly didn't seem big enough. Kyle Dake wasn't simply one of the best young athletes in the game, he was the new standard, and somehow, the most historic part of his career was still ahead. Winning one NCAA title is enough to cement an athlete's place in college history. Most champions spend the following season defending what they've already earned, protecting the top of their rankings, avoiding any unnecessary risks. But of course, Kyle Dake had a different idea. After conquering 141 pounds as a freshman, he decided that there was nothing left to prove there. He'd rather go up than defend his title against the same opponents. So he would make the move to 149 pounds, choosing to go compete against an entire new field of All-Americans and national championship contenders. It was a decision that perfectly captured who Kyle Dake was. He wasn't chasing comfort, he was chasing greatness, and if there was any doubts about the new weights slowing him down, they wouldn't last long, as he would prove himself worthy right away. In his first open at 149 pounds, he would not give up a single point, showing pure dominance on the mat wrestling, riding guys out, real deal strapping them up, and from there it was back to normal routine. And this would include winning the tough Southern Scuffle title, proving that adding weight didn't slow down his speed, slow down his technique, or his relentless pace. But there wasn't perfection along the journey. During a regular season dual meet, Dake would suffer his first loss of the season, falling 5-3. For many defending champions, a loss like that could shake their whole entire confidence. But for Kyle Dake, it just became another lesson. He responded the only way he knew how, by winning. 9 straight victories would follow as he marched towards the EIAA championships, looking to repeat as the conference champion. But instead, he was handed another setback. In the conference finals, Kevin LaValle edged out Kyle Dake in overtime, denying him to be a back-to-back conference champion. And perhaps the most important thing here, it also cost him the #1 seed at the NCAA championships. And suddenly, the brackets at 149 pounds looked completely different than what people thought. LaValle would claim the 3rd seed, NC State's Darion Caldwell would earn the #1 seed, and Penn State's Frank Molinaro took the 2nd. So this meant Kyle Dake, the former national champion at 141 pounds, was seated 4th. For many athletes, they would have seen this as a disadvantage. But for someone with the mindset of Kyle Dake, this didn't matter. The seeds didn't matter. The seeds don't win championships. Seeds are for birds. And from the opening round of the NCAA championships, Dake would show this match in and match out as he would be wrestling in complete control. As in the first 4 matches that Dake competed in, he would give up 0 points, giving out major decisions, giving out tough rideouts, not conceding 1 single point. The mat savviness and the stinginess of Kyle Dake would send him back to his 2nd NCAA finals, and the only athlete standing between Dake and his 2nd championship was Penn State's All-American Frank Molinaro. And if I'm being completely honest, he may have been one of the toughest athletes in the country regardless of weight. He would be one of Penn State's best athletes, and he would be a multiple-time All-American, eventually going on to represent the United States at the 2016 Olympic Games. So if anyone could beat Kyle Dake at this point in time, it would be him.
It was a 1-0 match. This is a kid that is just a sophomore, Tim, and he opened up so many eyes last year as a freshman, coming in and getting the national title at 141 pounds.
They called him Kid Dynamite. And
one thing about Dake in this tournament, no one has scored on him yet.
Frank Molinaro.
Quick single for Dake.
Nice circling behind.
Nothing. Here's a point for writing time, so it's 3-1. As we come up on a minute to go here in the 2nd period with 1 period
Out on the
still to
toe.
go.
Nice. And the tilt by Dake gives him 3 points.
2 more points for Kyle Dake for a take. Kyle Dake, a 2-time national champion.
And he would sort of do this in a way, as he would become the first athlete to score 1 single point on Kyle Dake during the entire NCAA tournament in 2011, 1 point. But that's all he could manage, as Dake controlled the rest of the match, earning an impressive 8-1 victory to capture his 2nd NCAA championship. His dominance throughout the season earned him the EIAA Wrestler of the Year honors. But once again, when you look past the athletes, it's the numbers that tell an incredible story here, because out of 33 matches that he had that season, 13 of them did not score a point. He had moved up weight classes, faced an entirely new group of elite competitors, taken a couple difficult losses along the way, but he would still end that year on top of the podium. 2 seasons, 2 different weight classes, 2 NCAA championships. By now, the world began to ask one simple question, one impossible question. If he could dominate 2 weight classes, what else could he conquer? By the time Kyle Dake entered into his junior season, he was no longer the freshman who shocked the world or the sophomore who proved that the first title wasn't a fluke. Instead, he would now become the athlete who everyone wanted to knock off. With Dake being a 2-time national champion, fans would obviously pack the arena and wanted to see him compete. And once again, Dake just refused to take the easy path. Instead of defending his title at 149 pounds, he made the decision to move up yet another weight class, this time at 157 pounds. For the 3rd straight season, he would be learning a new division, studying new opponents, and he would prove that his success was not tied to any particular weight class. In a sense, this would become his trademark: new weight, same results. From the first match of the season, Dake looked like a completely different athlete than the one who won his first NCAA title just 2 years prior, as he would capture 2 big back-to-back tournaments, winning the prestigious Las Vegas Invitational and the Southern Scuffle. And this season, he would finish the regular season unbeaten for the first time in his career. When the postseason arrived, he would roll through the ELAA championships, majoring every single opponent until the finals, where he would get a 3-1 victory, capturing yet another conference championship. But to me, what made this season so different was the victories. He was winning these matches effortlessly. The aggressive teenager who they called Kid Dynamite had matured into one of the most complete athletes in America. Every year he looked stronger. Every year he looked smarter. By this time, his defense was becoming nearly impossible to score on. His offense remained explosive, and perhaps the most important thing that people would notice during this time was his confidence had reached another level. This wasn't just a wrestler hoping to win another NCAA title. This was an athlete expecting to win an NCAA title. And when the NCAA tournament rolled around, Dake would enter as the #1 seed.
NCAA champion from Cornell, right here on mat 2. Nicholson of Old Dominion, 5-pound All-American for Old Dominion. From Des Moines, Iowa, John Nicholson. And 2 takedowns for Kyle Dake. 9-0 against the top 33 wrestlers in half.
And the bar.
Dake, bar and a half, double trouble. We call it the big cookie. And the ball for Kyle Dake.
And oh boy, he would waste no time showing everyone that he was levels above the field. In the first 3 matches, he would truly play no games, as he would get 3 pinfalls. Each match combined would be less than a 7-minute match. 3 pins. He would already punch his ticket to the NCAA semifinals. Fans couldn't even get in their seats properly before he was ending the match. And then he would have a 4-0 win in the semifinals, sending him to his 3rd straight NCAA finals, with 1 match remaining.
Derek St. John and Dake looks to become the first ever champion in 3 different weight classes in NCAA history. Anthony Kyle Dake has only been taken down once all season long. He's one of the most dominant wrestlers who just overtakes an opponent and somehow picks up the
this year for the 6th straight time, longest streak since World War I.
Easy guys. For the first time ever, we've got a national champion in 3 different weight classes. Kyle Dake has done it again.
And standing across from Kyle Dake in the NCAA finals will be Iowa's Derek St. John, who was one of the toughest competitors in the country. But bad news for Derek St. John, by this point in time, Dake had already developed the habit of rising to the biggest moments. He controlled the championship match from start to finish, and he would defeat St. John's to claim his 3rd NCAA championship. This win meant far more than any other trophy or any other match, because Kyle Dake will become the first wrestler in NCAA history to win 3 NCAA championships in 3 different weight classes. He would also become the first athlete in Cornell history to win 3 NCAA titles, forever cementing his place as the greatest wrestler the program had ever produced. And just to add the cherry on top, this win in the NCAA finals would also be the 100th win of his collegiate career. 3 seasons, 3 different weight classes, 3 NCAA championships. History had already been made, but with 1 more year of eligibility remaining, a bigger question started to dominate the wrestling world. Could Kyle Dake accomplish something that only few legends had ever accomplished at this point in time? Could he win a 4th NCAA title? The challenge waiting for him wasn't just another tournament, it was immortality. By the time his senior season arrived, Kyle Dake had already accomplished something that no other athlete in NCAA history had ever done. Most athletes would have just stayed put at 157 pounds and defended their title 1 more time and walked away as one of the greatest college wrestlers to ever do it. This was not enough for Kyle Dake. However, I do want to point out that there was talks about him staying at 157 pounds, but the opportunity at 165 was too golden to pass up. And what I mean by that is he wanted a challenge. So he would move up yet again, this time to 165 pounds. A 4th weight class, a 4th opportunity to prove his greatness wasn't tied to the scale. But as I said earlier, this would be a challenge, and this move came with something that the previous jumps did not include. a collision course with the biggest star in college wrestling at this point in time, David Taylor, the returning NCAA champion, the reigning Hodge Trophy winner, the face of the Penn State dynasty, the same David Taylor who had defeated him years earlier at the 2006 Fargo National Championships. And since that match, the two would gain respect for each other, even forming a friendship. And when they both got to college, they would both become household names. But once the season started, the friendship would take a backseat. History was on the line, and only one athlete could stand on the top of the podium at 165 pounds. Only one athlete could call himself the national champion. As soon as Dake announced that he was going up to 165 pounds, the anticipation was like anything that college wrestling had seen in decades. And before we get to their first matchup in college, I just have to sit here and say, do you know how insane Kyle Dake must be to say, I don't want a free national champion. I want to go against the best in the world right now. David Taylor had just come off a tech fall victory in the NCAA finals. He would put 22 on the board. But Dake did not care at all. He wanted all the smoke and all the problems that came with it. This mentality that Dake had is something that's been lost throughout time because, like, wow, this is a true throwback athlete. And at the All-Star Classic, they would waste no time matching up Kyle Dake and David Taylor in the season opener. It was the first chapter of what everyone hoped to be an unforgettable rivalry.
Dare we say it? The match of the decade? That's right. I mean, you got Cale Sanderson in there. You got, Pat Smith are 2 4-timers. But Kyle Dake has won 3 national championships in 3 different weight classes.
25 seconds in match.
If he doesn't, he's not going to like the outcome.
Well, right here, good shot. Good scramble. Look at this.
10 seconds to go in the period.
Almost out. Oh! Nice. Oh, good shot. Oh, look at David Taylor going after it. Great intensity. Both of these guys are champions.
In the match between the two athletes, it would be razor close, but Kyle Dake would get the win. And once the season started, fans and coaches would only have one tournament circled on their schedule, with this being the Southern Scuffle, as Cornell and Penn State would be there again. So this would be round 2 of Kyle Dake and David Taylor. But the outcome was the same. Once again, Kyle Dake proved that he could solve the puzzle that was David Taylor. But this match was even closer than the first match, with a few questionable calls that could have swung the match in David Taylor's favor. And as the season rolled on, Kyle Dake looked untouchable. He would march his way through the schedule without a loss. He would capture yet another EIAA championships, and he would secure the #1 seed at the 2013 NCAA championships. The bracket was set exactly how everyone wanted them. Dake would be at the top half of the bracket, and David Taylor would be at the bottom half. If both athletes competed to their potential, the sport would get the championship match that it's been waiting for all season, round 3. And Dake would hold up his end of the bargain in dominant fashion. This would include 4 shutouts and 4 rounds of competition for Kyle Dake. Not a single point surrendered. It almost became routine at this point. Every March, Kyle Dake would reach another level. But while Dake was shutting out the opponents on the top half of the bracket, David Taylor was at the bottom half of the bracket getting real deal busy as he was pinning every opponent that he faced. The two best athletes in the college world were steamrolling the field from opposite sides of the bracket. And then there was only one match left, the NCAA championships, the final college chapter of the wrestling's greatest rivalry. The atmosphere inside the arena was electric. On one side stood David Taylor, the relentless offense machine who overwhelmed every opponent that he competed against. Endless leg attacks, ankle picks, single legs, super ducks. On the other side stood Kyle Dake, calm, composed, impossible to break. It wasn't just strength versus strength. It was 2 completely different philosophies when it came to the game of wrestling. Taylor would push the pace, Dake would control it. Taylor would create the chaos. Dake thrived in it. For 7 unforgettable minutes,
David Taylor has been one of the more dominant wrestlers in the sport. David Taylor of Penn State, Kyle Dake of Cornell. Here we go.
Taylor got that initial takedown there.
Dake looking for the reversal again for the escape. Single leg. Dake trying to turn now. There it is. Dake takes the lead. Period. Taylor trying to get an escape point, get back to his feet. Riding time, not a factor.
Dake's another one of those guys that's extremely tough on top of it.
You have just witnessed history. For the first time ever, we have a four-time champ in 4 different weight classes. Kyle Dake.
Two of the greatest college wrestlers would battle for history, where everything would matter. Every scramble, every point, every escape, every riding time point, literally every single second mattered. And when the dust settled, Kyle Dake's discipline, defense, and his composure proved to be the difference maker. A 5-4 victory, 4 years, 4 NCAA championships, 4 different weight classes. Something no other athlete in NCAA history has ever accomplished. In that moment, Kyle Dake didn't just win another NCAA title. He would be setting the standard for the next generation of athletes on what it meant to be a true champion. As I stated earlier, he would move up to 165 pounds, knowing that David Taylor was going to be there, but he wanted that challenge. Right before this match between him and David Taylor, there was a camera following him around in the back, and you could see Kyle Dake how happy and how joyful he was right before one of the biggest matches of his life. But he felt no pressure because he knew this is what he wanted. And this is what this game is truly about when you think about it. Seeking new challenges, taking the risk. Kyle Dake and David Taylor put their friendship in the back seat just to put on an all-time classic NCAA Finals match, which was actually the second highest rated NCAA Finals matchup in the last 25 years. But what Kyle Dake was able to do in the 4 phenomenal years at Cornell was truly amazing. And I'm sure that every single fan appreciated the level of greatness and the risks he took along the way. For Kyle Dake, this would only be the start of a legendary career.